Okay, it's good to be back. It's been a hot minute, but the biggest piece of news is that Virat Kohli has decided to end his Test career. I know it's come as a shock to many, and we're going to unpack it today. So, Vivek, how have you been?
Yeah, I mean, last time we started a podcast, I was smiling ear to ear because of the Champions Trophy winning, and now I'm just depressed. But yeah, I mean, it's been we had a little bit, I'd say like 10% like feeling that he was going to retire. I remember when I saw his last wicket in the Border Gavaskar series that just ended in January, I said to myself, I was like, this might be the last time you see him play Test cricket, but I didn't believe it in my heart because I really thought he had up until 2027. He's as fit as can get, but I think it's one of those things where he had his mind made up and his body's probably telling him to just take a break now. So yeah, it's been I feel like this is today or the day he retired is the death of Test cricket, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely left behind like a massive legacy. I mean, since he took over in 2014, like the changes he's made, like the team was like the team's morale was higher than it ever was before. Like even in away contest, like whether it was visiting Australia, England, South Africa, New Zealand,
Yeah.
everyone had this like sense of belief that yeah, we're able to compete, and I think under Kohli's captaincy, like everyone was like performing like 10% above like how good they usually are.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he brought that into the team that just because we come from the subcontinent, we can't not win in these countries. And yeah, he's done so much for the team morale. Like we can get into more detail about the fast bowling culture that he built. And he was able to,
Mhm.
he's like visionary with cricket. He was able to identify what you need to win overseas. And he also identified that winning at home doesn't mean anything. It's all about winning overseas. And I'm really curious to see like what a Border Gavaskar series looks like in Australia without Virat Kohli. Like we saw record numbers come out for a Border Gavaskar series, and that's also because Australians by nature are just big sports fans. But let's see what happens to Test cricket now. Even the series coming out in England. Like let's see what the turnout is. Like I'm obviously sad as a cricket fan, but I just don't want to see Test cricket dying either. And he was the biggest flag bearer for Test cricket.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when he visited Australia for the first time as captain, I'm pretty sure he hit was it 4 centuries across? I mean, I'm looking at his
Crazy,
player profile right now. So the
crazy.
first test he had a century in both innings, and then third test 169, and the fourth test 147. So that was
Yeah.
just the start of something that was going to be massive.
Exactly. And that series, do you have it off the top of your head? I think was it four? He batted 8 times because of 2 innings per 4 matches. I think he had 5 centuries, if not four, in those
So
5 innings.
yeah, I'm looking at his list of scores. It's so 115, then 141,
Hmm.
and then 19, and then 1, and then 169,
Yeah,
54, 147, and 46. So
insane,
yeah,
insanity.
4 centuries, and then one score
250.
above 50. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
crazy. Like, yeah, well, let's rewind a little bit for the kids. This is what I'm going to tell my kids when they ask me
Hmm.
who Virat Kohli was. So, first test, Borogaskar series 2014, 2015. Virat Kohli's already played one series in Australia. It was a disaster series for Team India in 2011, 2012. He did score a century there, however, his first test century in Australia. So that's already just giving you like what this guy is all about. And then comes the first test of Border Gavaskar series. Whole Team India has transitioned after a terrible um, England and Australia OA series in 2011, 2012, in test matches specifically. And I don't remember why MS Dhoni was not available for the first test match, but he did not play that first test match. And then in comes Virat Kohli as captain. And that's the dawn of the new era where this guy, India was 2 for 111, I think. And
Hmm.
Mitchell Johnson is coming in hot. Like he's just bowling at 140, 145 Ks, bouncer straight at Virat Kohli's head right here, his first ball as a captain in Test cricket. And Virat Kohli just takes it, and the umpires come and say something to him like, "Are you okay?" The players come all around and they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I still remember I've seen this video a million times. He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. Go. Like I'm good. Go." He's telling everyone that he's fine, and you could see it. He's possessed in his eyes. Like he's like, "Now I'm gonna, show them what it's all about. Like you can't be doing this to me in Australia. He goes on to score 100 in his first ever innings as a Team India captain in Test cricket. And then after that, the rest is history. MS Dhoni comes in for two Test matches, and then he retires after that third Test dramatically. And
Mhm.
then Virat Kohli takes over in the fourth Test match. And yeah, we just spoke about he had four centuries, 150, like insane stats, and he just announced himself as Team India captain and kind of like the new Test team coming into overseas tournaments for Team India.
Yeah, I mean, even though India were underdogs heading into that series, there's Australia only won one game in that series, and the other three were drawn. So it was even though like results wise things didn't look ideal. I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of us knew that this was the start of something very special.
No, 100%. I mean, there was that time when they were batting for a draw, I think, in the fourth Test match, and I think
Hmm.
Virat Kohli was asked about that, and he said that yeah, like it was interesting to see getting cheered on so much for a draw, but that's because as Indian fans, we weren't even used to that going overseas, and that too, it's such a young team. So as you said, that was the start of something amazing, which we saw, especially from 2016 to 2019. Like what a
Hmm.
phase for Team India as Virat Kohli was captain in all formats, but especially Test cricket, and leading from the front. Like his stats were insane.
Hmm. And then I think it was like sometime when he started his Test captaincy. I think during the England, I think after an England tour, he got more in shape. I think he like on
Hmm.
medical advice, he cut out meat, and he went fully vegetarian. I mean, we're both vegetarian. I think
Yeah,
we can definitely relate to it.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but like results wise, that only made things better and better, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which is crazy because although I'm always back in vegetarians, I do feel that meat is needed for athletes. But for Virat Kohli to do that, like get maybe like 20% better after he cut out meat is insane. It's just an inspiration to like all athletes that are aspiring to be, professional players and who are vegetarian.
Yeah, and I think like the fact that he stayed like laser focused on whether it was like putting on the runs on the board while batting first or like making like back-breaking chases look like a joke. I
Yeah.
mean, now that he's out of the scene, it's going to feel very different going forward.
I know, man. Tell me about it. I'm not I'm dreading that. Like I don't know what it's gonna feel like. Like we have an England Test series coming up, and I want to say like even though he wasn't contributing with the bat much in the past few years in Test cricket, I feel like just him being in the team brings so much fire and confidence and kind of like a big brother or like a like you have that legend in the team that's still there with you.
Hmm.
So it'll be really interesting to see how the team transitions. I have no doubts that the team will transition well, but to have like we're so lucky and blessed to have grown up watching a personality like Virat Kohli because he's not just an Indian athlete. He is a global athlete and he has put India on the map just with his, the way he carries himself. He speaks so well. Like he's just become a groomed gentleman over time, and he's representing India and cricket on the world stage. So yeah, it's going to be very different. It's like Test cricket has lost his mascot.
I mean, like from 2014 until just before COVID hit, Virat Kohli in Test cricket was like, Rafael Nadal in the French Open, right? He
Yeah,
was just like how he's the king of clay.
yeah,
Like I don't think there's anything that Kohli wasn't able to do.
I know. Like and exactly everything. Like he even his catches. Like he has that one catch in Australia where he took it with his right hand at second slip. I think to get Usman Khwaja out or something like that. But every single thing he did, like even he had a very good run out in England. Ashwin was bowling, and Ashwin just said in an interview like a few days ago that I think Joe Root or one of those guys they like knocked it to like mid wicket, and he saw Virat Kohli running to that ball like a possessed person, and in his head he was like,
2018, right?
"Why?" 2018, yeah.
2018. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then Ashwin was like, "Why is he running like that?" It's because he picked it up and he 360 turned and threw it back, and had a direct hit and ran out Joe Root or whoever that batsman was. So, what he
That
brought
was
to
the
the
same
table,
game he hit 149, right? I just found that scorecard. Yeah.
yes, and that 149 would be like one of the top innings he's played for me because the whole team collapsed, and in the end he's batting with Umesh Yadav, and I think he put on like I don't know, maybe like 45 to 60 runs, maybe a little less than that, with Umesh Yadav at 11. It was crazy. I remember I was in a parking lot watching that match. I was going into my internship in 2018, and I was going to a lunch for my internship, and I was watching Virat Kohli like score these runs at number with the number 11, and kind of dig us out of a situation and get that 100 after you're hearing about, oh, Virat Kohli, he's batted around the world, but he can't bat in England. He just comes in 2018 and just eats them from breakfast. Insane.
I know, and then like in that situation, it went from India playing catch up to pretty much even Steven heading into the second innings.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what a guy like him does to the team.
But yeah, I think well now that I'm going through his like golden age of Test cricket, I would say even the knock in the second Test, early 2018 against South Africa in
Yep.
at Super Sport Park, that was just something else. I mean, even there, I don't think anyone else even crossed 50. Like I'm
Yeah.
looking at the scorecard, it was I think Murali Vijay hit 46 and Ashwin 38. Those are the two next best scores.
And how much did Virat Kohli get?
153.
Insane. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
And can you read out the bowling lineup? I'm guessing it's Dale Steyn, Vernon Philander.
So it was Philander, Morkel, KG, and Giri. That was his first test match, I think,
Yeah.
and Maharaj. So yeah, it was a pretty power
That's
packed
that's
bowling lineup.
stacked. That's
Hmm.
stacked lineup. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, he's the way he played across the world was different to see. When he started as a captain, I think his first overseas win as a captain was in Sri Lanka. And at that time, that was a big thing because teams wouldn't go to Sri Lanka and win. And I remember we won that series 2-1, and that started this whole, oh, India can win test series outside of India. And
Hmm.
then we were competing everywhere. And then obviously, then we have 2018, 2019 Australia Border Gavaskar series where India
Hmm.
goes to Australia and beats them 2-1 in a
Hmm.
Border Gavaskar series for the first time in ever. Was that ever?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was unprecedented. Yeah.
yeah, first time ever, and and then you see him coming into the dressing room or like going to the hotel, and you have the Bharat Army out there, so the fans, and him and his Shan Sharma jump in and start dancing with the fans. Like this is what it's all about. Like he's more than just a Team India captain. He's a character. He like meshes in with all the fans. Like what an amazing time to be alive.
I mean, too bad today's game didn't happen. I mean, I think yeah, everyone was decked out in with Kohli test jerseys only for the rain to come down
Yeah,
and there was no game. But hoping it happens another day.
yeah. Hopefully, and they clinched playoffs though, right?
Uh, Pretty much. I mean, there'll be a few too many outside results to go wrong in order for that not to happen. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, it is a shame. It would have been nice to give him a little, send off or farewell.
Hmm. But now that you mentioned Sri Lanka, I mean, it's to be noted that they're no pushovers. Like even like
Yeah.
Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, they've all gone and been beaten there in Test cricket. So I
Yeah.
think when India notched up that series when in 2014 or no mid
When?
2015 rather, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Um,
There's this famous picture of Kohli like this with the stump, and he's like walking off with the win.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even then, like I think there were five or six double centuries he hit. That too, like
In three
I think
years.
only in 3 years.
Yeah.
Let's see, one, two, three, four, five of those were at home, but still, like double century. Regardless, it's massive.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
you
those. Yeah.
at least these days, like looking at how unforgiving Test cricket has become for batting,
Yeah.
it's monumental, really.
No, he made it look so easy, and I remember I would watch him bat and just like dominate everywhere, and I would just be like, is it just that other countries are not keeping up, or is this guy just a freak? And it was the latter. Like he was
Hmm.
so good in those 3 years, 2016 to 2019. Yeah, he had three double centuries. Like I mean, sorry, six double centuries,
Hmm.
back to back to back. Like every series. I remember one was against England in India, and for everyone watching, if they want to see, there's a really good behind the scenes video of Nasser Hussain talking to Virat Kohli about this, just right after he got out of his or got off his 200, and he's like bowling some balls to him, and he's giving him Yorkers at like the middle stump and then to the legs. And Virat Kohli's explained how he can, play all of those balls to any part of the ground. So he can hit those Yorkers and slice them in the offside. He could hit them straight and then hit them towards mid wicket. And he's talking about flexibility in wrists, especially when batting. And he's an absolute genius. And I really believe that if COVID didn't happen in 2019 and didn't break the momentum that he had, then things would have been extremely different. But I really feel that COVID happening and India not playing cricket for like 200 something days, he
Mhm,
probably was in such sports is all about momentum, and the
mhm.
momentum he was in just got broken with this, disease all around the world and virus all around the world. And I really think that played a big role in it. And he probably got a little complacent at home because you're sitting at home for like 8 months not doing anything. You can hit the gym, which he was, but you're not batting, you're not doing this and that. So it's unfortunate, but that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I think the onset of COVID, that affected, like, pretty much a lot of the best in the business, like, they
Yeah.
they weren't as good as they were before. Um, in fact, it was a period after COVID when we saw, like, the gradual decline, but it was 2023 when he did give us all a reminder when he hit that century at home against Australia in Ahmedabad, and then another one against the Windies,
Hmm.
that was in, mid-2023.
Yes, yes. 2023 was the year where he reminded all of us that he's still there, and he had an amazing World ODI World Cup as well.
Mhm,
Uh, Unfortunately, we lost that in the final, but yeah, Test cricket he
mhm,
was looking good, and then this in 2024, yeah, he started the BGT with a century, which I thought was it's just crazy how everyone will remember that 2024, 2025 BGT as kind of what broke Virat Kohli. So it's very
mhm,
ironic that what made Virat Kohli was Test series in Australia, and kind of what ended him was the ones in Australia, but not in a negative way. Like he
mhm.
tried his best. There was a lot of factors as well. The body was catching up, and he had a century. So at least we saw his last century and his first in Australia in Test
Mhm.
cricket. And yeah, that's the circle of life.
I mean, as much as the BGT sucked, I tend to think that, hosting New Zealand, that was even more demoralizing because I mean, like India, they were unable to win even one game, that too against like a, relatively okay bowling attack from New Zealand. In fact, I think the dismissal, uh, I think it was in I think was it the Wankhede game or was it, in Pune? I can't remember. He missed a straight one
Pune
off Mitch Santner, and,
got bowled,
yeah, he
right?
got bowled. That was, like,
Yeah.
so unlike him. I was like, "Did that really happen?"
We texted at that time. I
Yeah.
remember I was like, "Did you see that?" And you're like, "That's so unlike him." Yeah, I that was that series. It's actually like trajectory changing because for Rohit and Virat, because even if we went on to this Border Gavaskar the way we did, if we had even won 2 or 3 games in that New Zealand series, we would have been in the World Test Championship final, and
Mhm,
Virat Kohli's final test could have potentially been a World Test Championship in England,
mhm.
which would have been an
True.
amazing end to the story. But
Mhm,
whatever, that's not what was written. But yeah, that I don't know what happened to India in that India New Zealand series. Like first time India lost in I think 20 something or 19 series at home, test series, something like that. Crazy stat. And I think what happened was we lost the first and we won the second, and then I think we started preparing like insanely tough pitches for like which are good for spinners, and they
mhm.
were so good that it was even making our batsmen like not bat well. And a
Yeah.
little bit of selection blunders like in India tests when the ball's spinning like that, you need Shreyas Iyer in there. You don't need him in overseas at all. But we just didn't have the right team and all that, so it's really unfortunate. Like I think that changed the trajectory of all of this.
Mhm. And, I think that yeah, that was, yeah, even Sarfaraz Khan was playing in the series against New Zealand,
Hmm.
but I tend to think, like, during the time when Kohli was Test captain, Sarfaraz Khan, he looked a little bit out of shape. I mean, more recently, he's gotten fitter,
Yeah.
but looking at, like, how big a fitness enthusiast Kohli was, like, even if a player seemed a bit out of shape, I mean, he kind of demanded, um well, sort of indirectly demanded that everyone, maintain this, like, sense of discipline, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, and as he should. Like you're gonna hear criticism that oh, he's gonna people are saying that it's Virat Kohli's way or nothing. Excuse me, but you can see the results. Like anybody, like in time in like 10, 15 years, when they look back at the stats of Virat Kohli as Test captain, that's gonna tell you the story right there. If you're looking at wins and runs. Yeah, he has a fitness culture which he's brought into Team India cricket, not just Test cricket. And
Mhm,
if people don't want to adhere to it, then you're not going to make the team. It's just how it works.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, either you make your adjustments or you end up lagging behind.
Yeah,
I mean, like, like the 80s and 90s, cricket looked like very much a skills-oriented game. Like,
yeah,
if you're good at batting or if you're good at bowling, that should get you in the side. But now, like fast forward today, you see like Glenn Phillips, doing all sorts of acrobatics,
yeah,
taking these crazy catches. You see like fielders, saving sixes with like jumping, taking catches, and flinging the ball back into play, right? Like the game has evolved so much that even if you fall behind slightly, there's a lot to catch up on.
yeah. No, 100%. And it's an important aspect of the game, which again, it's an effect on world cricket. Like it was skills oriented in the 80s and 90s, especially with subcontinental teams. And now you've opened up a whole different um, like avenue for cricket that can be seen in like ESPN top 10 highlights with these catches from Glenn Phillips and stuff like that, which is because of their fitness levels. So yeah, that's just another one of the things that Virat Kohli has brought to Test cricket.
Mhm. And I'd probably say that it's a good thing that he chose to leave on his own terms. Like he
Mhm.
didn't wait for things to go wrong even further. But
Yeah,
that being said, I think we're both on the same page here. When his experience could have come in handy for the England tour, because uh, now what's happening is that there'll be a relatively inexperienced lineup, and they'll be put to the ultimate test. But who knows? Expectations are low. That could bring out the best in these guys. Let's see.
yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I think that just as a transition phase, like worst case, at least have him in there as a mentor because Test cricket in England that and Australia, those two define you as a team. And now we're going in with very little experience. We have, I think, our most experienced batsman is KL Rahul in England, which he's had 100 there before, or maybe Rishabh Pant. But yeah, someone like Virat Kohli would really help because he's had the same exact thing happen to him in 2012. He had a miserable series, and then he changed his technique, and with his shuffling and his toe pointing a certain way, and he's able to conquer England. So yeah, it's going to be a tough transition. And I have a belief that Team India is just a bunch of IPL products now, and that's not going to fly on a seaming wicket in England in overcast conditions. So I need to see Shubman Gill. I need to see more from that guy, or else I'm not convinced at all. So let's see what happens.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think we said over text that whoever the next captain's going to be, there's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. Like if you look at Rishabh Pant, for example. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the fact that he's a super test player, but
Right.
if we look at his captaincy skills, like especially with LSG, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
And Shubman Gill, I mean, he's obviously a bright prospect, but he needs to prioritize scoring runs on a more regular basis. I mean, we haven't seen much of that in tests. I mean, we have in ODIs, but not in test cricket.
Oh yeah, and especially outside of India. Like outside of India, his test runs or his test stats are like abysmal. Like they're
Hmm.
nothing to be raving about, which is why I don't like the idea of him being captain. But let's see. Hopefully he comes good. England's going to be a tough tour, but if we can, at least even compete with that one, which I think India will compete. We
Hmm.
have guys with good technique. That's another thing. We need to have like a wall, like how we had Dravid, then we had Pujara. Now who's going to, fill that void as well? So there's a lot
Maybe
of things
Jaiswal.
there in the middle.
Oh no, I mean like not in the middle, but
Okay, from the top. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I mean we saw like in the fourth test, he
yeah,
he consumed like 200 plus deliveries, even though second innings went wrong. But
yeah,
the fact that he stuck around for that long,
yeah,
it has me wondering. I mean, he could play a similar role um, when India have their backs against the wall.
yeah. No, fair
Pun
enough. Fair
intended.
enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Mhm,
it's the same thing opening in three, especially in England, because they're gonna lose early wickets. So, yeah,
mhm.
yeah, hopefully he can do that.
So I think apparently it's between Shubman Gill and Jasprit Bumrah. It
Yeah,
could be, who knows, it could be like a split captaincy kind of thing, because
yeah,
I don't know how much, Bumrah's gonna play, especially in a 5 test series, because he gotta manage his workload now.
yeah.
I mean, you saw what Shane Bond said the other day, like, especially, in this kind of situation, these fast bowlers are one major injury away from, like,
That's it.
stopping playing at least one format.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's why it would be split captaincy ideally, so that Bumrah can captain as a first choice whenever he's available to play. If he plays 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, whatever it is, and
Mhm,
he captained really well. Like the only test we won in Australia, he was the captain. I think he's tactically very sound.
mhm.
And again, I just don't think Gill has done enough apart from social media hype to be the captain of Team India. He's got a great PR team for sure.
Mhm. I mean, the fact that he's so easy on the eye to watch, he has so many good shots to play, and
Yeah,
then, he frustrates the fans. He scores a good 30 or 40 only to do something stupid and get out. I mean, the other 2 examples I gave the other day
Taylor
were
Rahul.
Markram and Kusal Mendes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay, right, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No,
Even to
exactly.
some extent, KL as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like that's what he's doing, and he's played 2 World Test Championship finals now in England. So he really needs to step up. Like him having experience in England or access to playing in England is not a problem. So let's see if he can,
Mhm,
take the reins the way Kohli did in 2014, 2015.
mhm. Also, what do you make of Rohit deciding to stop playing Test cricket?
I'm okay with it. Actually, I think that he's also 2 years older than Virat Kohli, so he's kind of, and he doesn't have the fitness levels either. And he didn't have a great Australia tour. I know he said that, sometimes runs aren't coming off the bat today, but they could tomorrow, which is understandable. That's how form works. But I think that it was time for him to make way, for some of the younger guys coming in. And his body is probably not able to do 5-day test matches as well. Plus, he was not contributing to the cause. So I think it was a good decision. And he actually had a great test career in the end. Like he
Mhm,
started off pretty rough, but if you look at all these scorecards that we're talking about, you'll find him somewhere in the order. So he's always found a way to, be in these big matches and, be that second pillar for Team
mhm.
India. He's done incredible.
I mean, I think when India visited England, Rohit, the opening batter, was actually very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was.
mhm. Yeah, so I think timing-wise, I think it's probably fine. It'll likely be, KL opening with Jaiswal. I think that's what I saw on Cricinfo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not set in stone, but it's the likeliest outcome.
Yeah. I
Mhm,
agree with that. And let's see though. I mean, I think KL Rahul is a great batsman in the middle for all formats. Like if I had to
mhm,
pick between opening and middle, T20, I just don't think he's in the mix at all. But if in ODIs and Test, he's good in the middle. I don't think he can play the moving ball. But let's see. Let's see what happens in England.
mhm.
Yeah.
And, do you think there'll be at least one Test debut in the first Test?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it could be Sai Sudarshan. It could be, well, Dhruv Jurel's played a Test, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, actually, it might be Sai Sudarshan or no, Karun Nair is also played. So yeah, it's gonna be Sai
Yeah.
Sudarshan. Yeah,
But that's interesting though, because I don't think that it's been a while since there's been, more than one left-hander in the top 3. It's
yeah,
always, yeah, now it's gonna be Jaiswal and possibly Sai Sudarshan as well.
and as you told me the other day, Abhimanyu Ishwaran as well. He's a
Mhm,
captain of the A team, and also Ishan Kishan is in the A team, which I've been
mhm,
raving about him for years now. You
mhm,
got to get him back in the Test side. Like I think he's a very solid player, and he did well in Test in West Indies. And BCCI, I always say this should just get over his partying issue or whatever. He partied one time in Dubai and just let it go and get him back into these teams because he is like a generational talent, Ishan Kishan.
mhm. Plus, like, he has a double century in ODI cricket,
Yeah,
and he averages, like, close to 50, I think, in that format. I mean, I'm not trying to mix formats, but
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. and probably the greatest ever ODI squad India had is probably 2011 or 2015 or 2023. And
Mhm.
he made that World Cup squad. Ishan Kishan did. Like you're competing with Virat, Rohit, Rahul, Shreyas, Gill, and then you have Ishan Kishan in there. Surya Kumar Yadav, that was just some nonsense. Him being in
Yeah.
there, but Ishan Kishan to be in that group of batsmen after just
Mhm.
I think his debut was 2021 is crazy, and he's just been forgotten about. And like he could be another Gill or another Punt. I don't know what these guys are doing.
I mean, if he's gonna get in, it'll have to be as a pure batsman. So,
Hmm.
I mean, as a wicket keeper, I mean, punt is here to stay. Unless he has like a horrible drop in form,
Yeah.
even that's not gonna get him dropped. I mean, just look at all that he's achieved in Test cricket so far.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think play them both and play Ishan Kishan as yeah, straight batsman. Like
Hmm.
no problem with that.
So you say it like number three or number four?
I was just thinking that in my head. I'd like him at four. So if I'm thinking about my 11 right now, it's tough. I've had a hard time figuring out this 11. Sorry, my dog is barking. I don't know if you could hear it,
Yeah, yeah,
but
that's fine.
yeah. uh, but basically, sorry, 1 second. Basically, yeah, the 11 is tough, but I would say KL Jaiswal. Number three, it's gonna be Gill, I would say. And then Ishan Kishan if he's in the team. If he's not on the team, it's gonna be Sai Sudarshan and then Gill at
Hmm.
three and four. Or it'll be Manu Iswaran at three and Gill at four.
You
I
could
don't
get
think Ishan Kishan.
left, right in the first example you shared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true, true. And that's the first time, as you said, that we're gonna have lefties at the top in the
more
top
than one
four.
lefty at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So let's see what happens. I honestly don't think Ishan Kishan's gonna make the squad at all.
Hmm.
But it would be nice if he does. I know that they're looking at a lot of other guys as well, like Jurel, Ishwarn, and Sai Sudarshan to come into the test team. So we'll see.
Hmm. And like I mentioned the other day, it's yeah, both Sudarshan and Karun Nair, they have experience playing county cricket. So I think yeah, Sai
Yeah,
Sudarshan he played for Surrey, and
yeah,
I think Karun Nair played for North Ants. So
yes, yeah,
they have some knowledge about local conditions.
hmm,
So that could get them in the squad.
yeah, yeah. It could and well deserved. Karnair has been playing like he's a really interesting example. He came in during that Kohli era of
Hmm.
2016, 2019. Comes in with a triple century and doesn't play another test match. Or maybe
Hmm.
plays one more and didn't play another one, which is extremely unfortunate. It also happened with Prithvi Shaw, but this is Prithvi Shaw's fault. Like he scored 100 on debut in that era against
Hmm.
West Indies, and then he just never, he ended up not being good in cricket because whatever problems he's going through. But yeah,
Hmm.
those are all like you saw so many gems come out. Like I remember again, I was watching that match where Karun Nair came in and scored 300, and I'm like, is India just gonna dominate like this? Like it wasn't even like the fact that you have a stacked lineup. Like you have Kohli, Rahane, Pujara, Rahul at the top, Shaw, and all these people. And then you have a guy named Karun Nair come in and score a triple century. I was like, what is going to happen with cricket in India? Like we're just going to dominate like crazy. But yeah, it's interesting how things worked out.
I mean, there was that much of a bottleneck. I mean, the fact that someone came in and hit a triple century,
Yeah, yeah,
and then wasn't to be found again in the playing 11 for
yeah,
multiple years, and
yeah,
now he's getting a chance. I mean, better late than never, right?
yeah, for sure. But poor guy. Like I wish he got more of a chance.
Let's
Um,
see.
And speaking of, I just want to go back to Virat Kohli. I want
Yeah,
to mention two more things which I'm going to tell my kids is
sure.
about Virat Kohli. So I'm sure you remember this, but I think it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fourth Test match in fourth or third Test match in England, where we set a target for England to chase down, and we have 60 overs left. And
Hmm.
somehow there's a mic that's going into the Indian team huddle, and it picks up Virat Kohli saying, "For 60 overs, we're going to give them hell out there," which is the most iconic, the hardest line, the aura maxing line of Test cricket in history, because you never have a team India going into England in English conditions talking about bullying an England team in Test cricket. And that's what he said. He literally told his team boost the morale as we spoke about. He said we're going to give them hell for 60 overs. And I think we cleaned them up in like 35-40. Siraj was a big part of that, and India won that Test match. So an iconic moment for Indians to just go to these countries and dominate the way we did. Um, so amazing, amazing. Do you remember that? Any thoughts on that?
This was at the Oval, right?
At the Oval,
Oval?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw this. This was the one where Rohit hit a century in the second innings, right?
yeah, yep, yep.
Hmm.
What a match!
And then I think, okay, now I'm looking at the fourth innings. I think, yeah, Burns and Hamid, they added like 100 runs together, and then it all fell flat from that point onwards.
Yeah, and he always had that. Like he could take out a game from any point of the situation. Like I just saw Jatin Sapru talking about this, where the MCG, India is 34 for 4 or something like that against Pakistan, and he takes the game out of there. Like you only have
Hmm.
generational players who can believe that they can win a game from any situation. That's exactly what he did.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I mean, even though Pakistan may feel like there's some bad umpiring, the no ball in the final over. I
Yeah,
mean, it's very much touch and go. I mean, it's commonplace in sport.
yeah,
But I mean, the real reason why they lost this game, I mean, if you have like your opponent chasing like 150 odd and they're 34 for 4 and you let them out of jail, that's your fault.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's no excuse or there's no way that you can argue 18.5 and 18.6. Like that was
Hmm.
just pure genius. That was what set up the game. Like because Haris Rauf bowled a good over before that. I think it was 4 runs in that over, 1-1, 1-1, and then Virat
Hmm.
Kohli 2 sixes. Like there's no umpiring involved in that. It's just straight, uh, aura from the guy. So
I mean, 18.5, that wasn't a bad ball per se. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, in fact, it was like back of a length, and
yeah.
and Kohli hit a six down the ground.
He hit it straight down the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah,
A short pitch ball, like kind of like in your body line or
yeah.
a little outside off. Like that's just not cricket. Like that's not possible. So, like the what he did, the moments he's given us. That's why thank God he's still playing ODI cricket, or else
Hmm.
it'd been bad. But I think a little part of all of our cricket fan has died
Hmm.
when he has announced his Test retirement.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was also saying this the other day. Like a lot of the players we kept track of during our high school years, they're all
Yeah,
leaving the scene one by one. I mean, cricket's just not going to be the same, right? I
it's
mean,
not.
we were blessed with some of the greatest years of Test cricket. I mean, there'll be always lots of chatter about the 90s and the turn of the century, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Man, I completely agree with you. Like you said that, I got goosebumps when you said that. That we are so blessed to see the Fab Four basically, and
Hmm.
you have the remnants of like the older teams like Jimmy Anderson bowling at his peak, Vernon Philander bowling at his peak, and then you have the resurgence of fast bowling, which is
Hmm.
one more thing I wanted to discuss about Virat Kohli's captaincy. But just going back to this point, Test cricket was intense in between 2016 up until like 2022 or
Hmm.
2019, 2022. You have South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, England, India, everyone's got a star batsman, like stacked bowling lineups, like intense cricket. And I just hope that we get to see that again. I know the 90s people, generations, they felt that way. And then this generation came up with a Fab Four. I'm really hoping the next generation can do it because we have Harry Brook, you have Shubman Gill hopefully coming good. You have a lot of good players. Daryl Mitchell he's a young, not as young, but he's an exciting talent from New Zealand. So let's see what's
Rachin
going on.
Ravindra.
Rachin Ravindra and Australia, of course, we have Cam Green, Bo Webster, all these guys. Sam Constis coming up. So, yeah, hopefully they
Oh
can
yeah.
create. Yeah, they can create what Virat Kohli and Co did. So, yeah,
Well, a lot of big shoes to fill.
absolutely. But so did these guys.
Hmm.
These guys had to fill Sachin Dravid, those shoes, and then the Pontings and Hayden Gilchrist and Alistair Cook and all that. So let's see. I think that's something that as we get older, we'll see that it's the nature of the game that generations will build. Stars. Stars will always emerge through generations. Just like getting through the one that we grew up with in high school is going to be tough.
Hmm. And then, yeah, we then you wanted to bring up the the rise of the pace attack. I mean, the
Yeah,
stereotypes we normally come across, like the subcontinent teams, they have very good spinners, right? That's another stereotype that Kohli slowly broke.
yeah,
Once y- there was a rise of Bumrah and his peers. Ishant Sharma
yeah.
uh, he was
Instrumental.
struggling for a little bit, and then he got so good as well. I mean, he even added a little bit of pace too.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, I mentioned it a little earlier that Virat Kohli identified how to win Test cricket, and he said that I need to win or I need to take 20 wickets in any conditions. And there's a famous line of Ravi Shastri in Hindi saying, "Take the pitch out of the game. It's all about
Hmm.
your like taking 20 wickets," which it's right. Like if you can take 20 wickets anywhere, then you're gonna win the game. So he identified that, and it was actually a little before Bumrah. So it started off with Umesh Yadav, Ishant Sharma. So Ishant Sharma already had a 2011 series with the Legends where he was like 18 years old and he played really well. And then Ishant Sharma ended up going on to play 100 test matches, but he was like the backbone. And then you had Umesh Yadav, you had Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and then you
Hmm.
had um, Jasprit Bumrah come in after those three, and you had Shami come in before
Hmm.
Jasprit Bumrah. So you had Umesh, Ishant, Bhuvi, and Shami, and then you have the addition of this freak Bumrah, and then after Bumrah you have a Siraj which comes in. So you have a pool of six fast bowlers in that 2016 2019 time. We also have Navdeep Saini that came in, and he was
Hmm.
bowling like pretty well, some express pace, and unfortunately he's not playing for Team India right now, but we had him come in. We had a few other like fast bowlers that had little stints, but you had that core group of guys in a pack, like dogs in a pack, that would just
Hmm.
go into any of these countries, and you had everything. You had seam from Shami, you had pace from Bumrah, you had seam and swing from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, you had that Glenn McGraw type length from Ishan Sharma. So Virat Kohli identified this, and he really, groomed all these fast bowlers to bowl in packs, and that's why we were so successful overseas.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, even now, like we've seen even Akash Deep. He hasn't taken a whole lot of wickets, but he looks a good prospect as well.
Absolutely. Akash Deep,
Mhm.
Prasidh Krishna had an amazing
Yeah.
last test match in Australia. So
Hmm.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Like what he's leaving behind. He's left behind the idea and the belief that India can win in any country in Test cricket, and
Hmm.
we have the example. Like the example is now there. The template is there. We've seen it. We just got to do that now. Like send 10 really fast bowlers to the the National Cricket Academy and just
Hmm.
teach them to bowl 20 overs a day and stay and take care of their fitness and x-ray their back all the time and take care of their diet, do all these things, and we'll be seeing that same era once again.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, whoever takes over, there'll be a lot on his plate. But the stage has been set, though. It's like, um, you know, yeah. Now that Kohli's slowly left the scene,
Yeah,
um, I mean, he's left behind like such a strong work ethic. He's created like a massive paradigm shift that
yeah,
it's time to learn from that and carry on. Like a lot of, as you said, the template has been laid out.
yeah, it has absolutely. So the younger guys just need to try to follow that, and maybe we won't see it because there's only going to be one Virat Kohli ever.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
let's see what happens
Hmm.
with the test team.
Hmm. Plus, I mean, ODI is it's still his strongest format. I mean,
Yeah,
I think there was a time when he was averaging 50 plus across all three formats,
yeah.
and I think at one point his ODI average was just a little bit above 60,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
I remember that time. Yeah,
mhm.
that was a
I mean,
crazy time.
it's nuts. I mean, having played several hundred matches and averaging 60, it's unheard of.
Yeah, yeah, and we're so lucky. Like again, we're so blessed. I feel like he wore like Team India on his heart and sleeve. Like that
Hmm.
was what he bled and sweat for. And I feel like how I feel about Team India and India in general. A lot of it, and cricket, a lot of it comes from this one guy, Virat Kohli. Like he's
Hmm.
instilled that in me. And I think that's not just me. I think that's literally a billion fans of
Hmm.
Team India and cricket. So and we're just so lucky to grow up watching this guy. Like I remember, like yeah, I used to watch Virat Kohli. I would be studying in the library in college till like 2, 3, 4 a.m. and I'd always have a test match on the side watching Virat Kohli play. And it's like a sense of like home or security, or reminds you of like your real passions when you're like down bad in the library. So I just
Mhm.
have a lot of, connection with this guy. And it's just really sad to see him, but it's not me, it's not an individual thing. Like we all have those stories. Like I'm sure you have a story like that as well with just watching
Mhm.
Virat Kohli play cricket.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my way to unwind was watching highlights, and I know this is very cheesy, but I also watch a lot of Tom and Jerry as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, 100%. Exactly. But yeah, it was yeah, great memories. Like I'm so happy that I got to see his entire trajectory. And yeah, there's never gonna be a player like him. But yeah, we got through it.
Mhm. So, what are your top three Virat Kohli test knocks that you can watch over and over again without getting bored?
Oh my God. So 149 in England, where he
Mhm.
scored that in 2018. Um, then I would say that 169, I believe, in Australia, which
Mhm.
was the third or fourth test in 2014, 2015. Um, I think we drew that match, if I'm not
Mhm.
wrong.
All right. So we
So
got two. What's the third one?
yeah, the third one is his 165, I think, in South Africa, the one we spoke about,
Oh, 153. Yeah.
153. Because as you said, like everyone is getting knocked over, and I think that pitch, I don't know if that was the pitch where they were asked if you want to stop playing because the pitch was too spicy.
Oh no,
And
that
this
was game
guy,
three. That was next game.
that was the next game. That's
Yeah.
another great story about the Virat Kohli Ravi Shastri era. These guys
Mhm.
don't give a shit about like what's on the pitch. They're
Exactly.
they're such freaks. They were like, no, we're gonna play. Like we're gonna bowl on this. We're gonna bat on this, which is insane because you're risking like your life of your team and like the injuries of your team. But they're just so possessed and like motivated by winning for Team India. It's just amazing. So what a time! Like we've never seen like that era. We have to also give credit to Ravi Shastri because Ravi
Mhm.
Shastri and Virat Kohli were working so well together, ruling team in Indian cricket, and their sole focus was just like cut all the nonsense. Who cares
Mhm.
about the pitch? Who cares about this and that? If we play good cricket, we're gonna win. If we implement our
Mhm.
processes, we're gonna win, and that's
Mhm.
what we did.
I mean, that couldn't care less, and we'll put it all on the line. That's what like defined that age of Test
Yeah,
cricket under Kohli's leadership, and
yeah,
there are results to show for it as well. I
absolutely, man.
mean,
Yeah,
I'd probably agree with your top three knocks. I mean that I think
yeah,
the 149 in England by far that was,
yeah.
um, even though the end result was an India loss, but that really like it turned the game on its head, almost turned the game on its head.
No, absolutely, and he's done that so many times. I remember when I used to play cricket, there was a coach of mine who's a West Indian guy, and we were arguing with him saying Virat Kohli is the greatest ever, and he was like, "Nope, he hasn't scored test runs in England." And then I remember like even messaging this guy after that 149 saying,
Oh,
"Guess who
where are you
scored
now?
test runs?" And yeah, guess who scored test runs? But any other knocks you have in your mind about Virat Kohli test cricket?
Let's see here. I think I would also okay. Well, I agree with your top three. I'd also go. How about the twin tons in the first test of
Yeah,
2014 BGT? That pretty much set the tone. I mean,
yeah,
from that point onwards, like from then until COVID hit, right?
yeah.
He was just unstoppable.
Absolutely. Is amazing. Like to in Australia to score 100 in both innings, and that was the first test you said.
First test, yeah.
So that's his first ever test match as a captain as well.
Hmm.
So just think about that. Like that's insane. First test match as Team India captain, you're coming in, you get hit on the head by Mitchell Johnson first ball, and then you scored
Hmm.
back-to-back hundreds in that game. Like that's like I don't even I'm running out of words for this guy. Like people
Hmm.
don't understand. Like all my hometown friends always make fun of me for, praising Virat Kohli so much. But if they're actually cricket fans, they're not cricket fans, but if they have seen this trajectory, they'll understand that this is like nothing we've ever seen before in sport.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was okay. I was gonna say something. It just left me.
My bad.
Yeah,
Talk to
that's fine.
spoke
It's
too
fine. It's
much.
fine. It's
But
fine. but yeah, I think on yeah, I think on this note, it's a good time to wrap up. So
Yeah.
yeah, now that the England tour is coming up, what would you say you're most looking forward to, and what would you predict?
What was that? What was the second part?
And end result prediction.
Oh, end result prediction. It's a five test series.
5, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm most looking forward to just seeing like how the transition phase goes. I think the only OG left in there is Jadeja and Rahul to an exception or like to some point.
Maybe,
Um,
yeah.
maybe. But I think I want to see how we transition. I have a
Mhm.
belief that the Team India youngsters, like I said this about Harshit Rana, I wasn't convinced by him and he just came and expressed himself in the Champions Trophy. So I'm hoping that these guys can just come in and do the same thing because they've seen it happen in the past, and the younger guys is more confident. They've got more experience in overseas conditions. So let's see. I'm excited to see how we transition in the 11s we choose. And then my prediction. So again, this is going to be biased because with these guys retiring, I have no clue what's going to happen. But I'm going to go 3-2 India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, one sec. Barring any draws because of rain, I know there's
yeah.
going to be a result. So
Mhm,
it could be 3-2 India. It could be 3-1. It could be 2-1-1, whatever, or 2-1-2, whatever happens. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I think, like, expectations-wise, if we were to, if we were to compare it to another series, it's probably the famous, BGT that was during COVID. That was, that's gonna be etched in, everyone's memory. That
Yeah.
was just out of this world. I mean, the fact that in Kohli's absence, these new guys managed to get the job done.
Yeah.
And, and as far as England is concerned, I mean, they have some fixing to do as well.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
why.
this series could be more competitive than it looks.
No,
And
for sure. For sure.
I if if we're going to assume that every test has a win-loss result, it could be 3-2 going either way.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's but I tend to think that yeah, with lower expectations, I think it could motivate the new guys in Team India some more. So
Yeah.
and yeah, the thing that I forgot a couple minutes ago, in that 2014 BGT, there was only one player who outscored Kohli, and that was the
Uh,
Australian captain Steve Smith.
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's the Fab Four we're talking about. And
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, another legendary player. And good for him. He's continuing to play Test cricket.
Hmm. So it's only Root and Williamson that are playing all formats. I mean, Root doesn't really play T20 much, but
Yeah.
um, well, there's at least one format that each of the Fab Four don't play now.
Is that
I
right?
mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if the Kiwis are going to continue starting with Williamson in T20s, but
Yeah.
we shall see.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Hmm.
And one thing that when you mentioned that 2020 and 2021 BGT that we won down under,
Hmm.
um, another thing that I want to mention about Virat Kohli is he was there for the first Test match before he went for the birth of his first child back to India,
Hmm.
and there was a pink ball test, and everyone looked absolutely clueless in batting, and this guy just scores 70, just like it's like a walk in the park. Like he was looking so solid in with the pink ball under the lights, which for non-cricket fans that don't get it, that is probably the hardest ever situation you're going to be in as a batsman. So yeah, just
Hmm.
another legendary moment from him.
Hmm. Yeah, that was during the infamous 36 all out game,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that was such a turning point in so many ways.
exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
this team, they didn't let the 36, the demons of the 36 all out, live in their heads throughout the series. You have to
Yeah,
forget about your troubles and you have to focus on what's coming up next.
yeah, absolutely. That's what they did, which is what I like about these young guys, as you alluded to. Like when they're under pressure and low expectations, you always have something good come out. So let's see.
Hmm. I mean, after
Yeah,
that game, I bet, like, a lot of fans are like, I'm done. We've had it. What's the use in watching the next games of the series? And then fast
yeah,
forward to the end of the series. What just happened?
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's how I felt honestly going into the 2024 BGT. Um,
Hmm.
I was like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen? And then out of nowhere, because we had Rohit Sharma didn't play, Virat Kohli didn't play. No, he played the first one. Yeah, yeah. We had all our legends not playing the first Test match, and then out of nowhere we won it. And the guys in the team were debuting Nitish Kumar Reddy, Harshit Rana, Devdutt Padikkal, and I was like, all these guys just come in and beat Australia in Australia first Test VGT, like crazy stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Oh, I think wait, are you
Net,
frozen? Oh,
am I?
okay, okay,
Can you?
you were for just a brief moment. That's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, all good now.
okay.
What were you saying next?
No, I was just saying net. To just to conclude, Virat Kohli is the greatest ever cricket player to play the game. The stats
Mhm,
aren't going to show it. He's so selfless. He stopped at 9,300 some runs and didn't care about
mhm,
scoring 10,000. He had a little bit of a lean phase, but being the superstar he is for not India but just the world, it's not easy to keep up. And for cricket fans like you and me that have followed his journey throughout high school and college, we're gonna understand like what he meant to cricket and what he did for cricket and Test cricket
mhm,
specifically. So yeah, I mean, I all I can do is praise the man. I can't even be mad that he retired early, in my opinion.
mhm,
He's given us so many memories, so just thank you, Virat Kohli, for that.
mhm. Yeah, I think when it comes to like players of his stature leaving, it's good if people ask why instead of how soon is it happening,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
I mean, I can think of a few examples where people would ask, how soon is so and so going to leave? But yeah, Kohli he took matters into his own hands and he said, I've put my foot down. This is my decision, and I think this is it's for the betterment of the team going forward.
yeah,
And it's it's not the end of the road. I mean, ODIs is still there.
yeah,
2027 could be in reach.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, definitely feels different that we're no longer going to see him playing Test cricket. But yeah, still looking forward to seeing him do what he does in ODIs and in the IPL. And I would imagine he'll be playing first class cricket because I don't think it would make a lot of sense doing a lot of intense training only to play like the IPL and a handful of ODIs here and there. Like since hardly any ODIs in the schedule.
Interesting. I didn't think he was gonna play first class cricket, but let's see.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's done. Like, I don't think he wants to play anymore. He's
Hmm.
just like trying to continue the legacy. But let's see.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think on that note, it's a good time to wrap it up. I mean, I definitely enjoyed this discussion. I mean, say that I enjoyed it, that would be such an understatement. I mean, we're
yeah.
celebrating, you know, a
Our
modern
hero,
day great that this game has witnessed. Fans around the world have witnessed.
100%. Absolutely, man. I've loved speaking about cricket with you, and especially
Hmm.
when it comes to Virat Kohli. We
Hmm.
both understand as cricket fans like what he's done for the game. So yeah, it's great
Hmm.
talking to you, man.
Hmm. Yeah, great to catch up. And yeah, Vivek, I'm going to eagerly look forward to the England series as well as the WTC final. We can maybe
Yes.
dive into that at a later time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm going to be out of town from early to mid June, so maybe recap after the game. I think that could
Okay.
work.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it. And good luck to your team
Mhm.
in that
For
final.
sure. Let's
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
Vivek, take care.
All right. Thanks, Ave. Good talking to
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.